Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Krista White. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Crow Canyon, and I'm excited to introduce you to today's topic of NITRO Governance for M365 and Teams. We're going to show you how to optimize your M365 and Teams environment. But before we get started, just a couple of housekeeping things that I wanted to go over with you. If you do have any questions, don't be shy. Go ahead and use that question box there on the right-hand side. We love questions, and we will make sure to get back to everyone. Either at the end of the webinar, we'll answer all your questions, and if for any reason we're not able to get to you, we'll follow up with you afterwards. So go ahead and use that box. And this webinar will be recorded. So we'll add this to our website and also to our YouTube channel. If you register for the webinar, we will also send you an email with a link tomorrow. So you can sit back and just enjoy the content. No need to take any notes. And lastly, this will be a high-level overview of governance. Of course, the nitty-gritty and what exactly it means for each organization varies quite widely. So we'll be giving you kind of an overview of everything, but we encourage you to reach out and we can schedule some one-on-one time to really dive into what this would look like for your specific organization. Now, with that being said, I'd like to go ahead and introduce you to Scott Restivo, our CEO. And we are Crow Canyon Software. We've been in business for 24 years. We are also GSA certified, and we are a Microsoft preferred business application. We're also a California certified small business. And our specialty is automation. We've been at this for a long time. We look for new ways to help businesses strengthen their processes and be more successful. So that's what we have for you today. Now I'd like to go ahead and turn things over to Scott. Scott, what do you have for us?
Oh, thank you, Krista. Thank you for the introduction. And you're absolutely right. This is an important topic of governance. And now that more and more people are using Microsoft 365 and Teams as mission critical processes, it's very important that the environment is secure, that costs are controlled, that it's compliant. And there are tools inside of Microsoft to do it, but they're spread across multiple admin centers. They're hard to interpret, and the NITRO Governance gives you a great ability to get all the information into one spot that you need, and also to automate certain actions and tasks that are needed to correct any problems or issues. Now, as Krista said, as you said, Krista, very important to especially with governance, it's to take advantage of our 1 hour free assessment. We'll hook up the tool to your environment, your tenant, NITRO Studio. Of course, that has to be Microsoft 365, not SharePoint on premises, but Microsoft 365 tenant. And within an hour, we'll be able to identify possibly some issues. I mean, we can't guarantee, hopefully there'll be no issues, I guess, but usually almost every time we've done this, Krista, we found some things and sometimes very significant cost savings or security holes that the customer or we were talking with was not aware of. So I think it's a very valuable, free, complimentary 1 hour assessment to go along with this. And that's but let's go through what governance is all about. You want to cost efficient, secure, and compliant. You want to be able to control cost, avoid app sprawl. App sprawl meaning team sites all over the place, SharePoint sites Teams all over the place, SharePoint sites all over the place. How long have they been used? Who used them? It's very easy to just create all these different things in the Office 365 environment, and then no one's managing it, or governance, people leave, or they change jobs, or they lose interest, or the project changes, and there's a lot of debris out there, you might call it. Also, the security holes, whether somebody from the external has access that they shouldn't, or somebody who was offboarded, left the company, now has access they shouldn't. So this tool points out all these areas where cost may be more, the sprawl of team sites and SharePoint sites and Power Automate flows and all that is getting out of control, and it can improve your security and also help you stay compliant with any rules, any government regulations or other compliant situations. So it's really a lot about saving money and being some more secure, Krista. So the current situation makes it hard to manage in M365, that you have siloed data, you have all these admin centers all over, you have a Teams admin, SharePoint admin, Exchange admin, all these different admin screens. Licensing is not all that transparent. Sometimes you're licensed in different ways that that is not clear, or why I have that level of license, and do you need that level of license? And to get all this information in one place to act on it is tedious and time consuming, and sometimes you got to really dig, and then that calls a lack of understanding where and how to act. So you want to know what's, is everything going right? Is there are there issues? Are there things we can fix or improve? Are there licenses we can let go of or reduce the level of it and save money? You want all that in a nice, easy to use tool, and that's what NITRO Governance provides. So let's see what's next. So talking specifically about licensing issues, users can be over licensed. That means maybe they have business standard and they only need business basic, things like that. And that's double the price for standard versus basic, at least in the E3. So you can really save money. And this is where a lot of the cost saving comes in place. And we always say, kind of half jokingly, that why Microsoft doesn't need any more money. So why give them more of yours when you don't need to? And this is the biggest problem I think people have, especially organizations that have a lot of coming and going, or a lot of users. The licensing gets out of control, and it's we were talking to someone today, Krista, earlier today, or it was about, someone told me third hand, but one of our people we're talking to saying, like, we just got this huge bill from Microsoft. We don't know what it was all about, and they're not really in control of their licensing. So they're looking at this tool as a way to save significant amounts of money and make sure everybody's properly licensed. Lower cost license can be used, basic versus standard, off-boarded users are not, licenses are not retracted. All this runs up not only cost issues, but as next slide shows, security issues. If you have people who are licensed who are not supposed to be licensed, then that raises security issues of having access that is unwarranted or unneeded, or actually could cause a problem. Off-boarded users, inactive users, improperly licensed users, admin accounts without multi-factor authentication, users with too much access. All these things are not only cost issues, but also security issues. And then let's go on to the next one. The next thing is about storage. So storage, and also meaning the use of flows and automates, Power Automate flows. The thing is, now I haven't certified this, talked to Microsoft directly, but third hand, I've heard, like, well, when you reach a certain limit, like 90% of your capacity, I think it is, Microsoft will just up your storage limit and of course charge you more for it. And you don't even know it until you get the bill, or if you even notice in your bill that, hey, it just went up because our storage has increased kind of automatically based on Microsoft's automatic increasing of your storage and that kind of thing. So there's, you want to know how much storage you have, if you have to buy more, if you need what you're using, or not only on SharePoint, OneDrive. It could be what we find quite often, especially with SharePoint sites and Teams. There's a lot of things, these items, sites, teams that were created and they're no longer in use, and what this tool will show you is, like, when the last time it was used, and who created it, and like all that's very important data to have. And then with the automations in the tool, it'll be able to identify or contact the team owner, assuming he or she is still there, and say, do you need this team? Has it been used in 6 months? What's going on? So it really is important to clean up and archive any large sites and OneDrive file systems, and not just let the system grow into a monster. And that's what governance is all about. Governance is controlling and organizing and optimizing the M365 environment, both for, like we say, for cost, for security, for compliance, for to avoid excess work of IT that's not needed to control and manage sites and teams that aren't in use. So there's also the issue of the cost of premium connectors. Once you get into the Power Platform, Power Automate, and you start using premium connectors, well, that's going to run you up some costs. There's clutter, there's unused flows in Power Apps. And you want to know all this so that you can keep your M365 running optimally, because as I said earlier, it's such a mission critical product these days, platform these days, many people running processes on it. In fact, the way we came to doing governance is that we, as Krista said earlier, we are primarily a business process automation company. We do help desk, service desk, asset management, purchasing, request management, all these kinds of equipment management, all these kind of practical, useful applications on top of the M365 environment. They all use our NITRO Studio to do it. And in our conversations with customers, because we have many, many customers all around the world, they have started talking much more about governance, about M365 needing governance and getting out of control and having too many sites, and they're wondering about the license costs, because during the pandemic and the COVID time, a lot of people rushed to the cloud. They went to the M365 Teams and all that, and without really thinking too much about control or governance and how to have a strategy or policy to implement it. And now they're facing a little bit of a situation where it's in use, and now we have to come back and get it back under control. So NITRO Governance for Teams. So now we'll talk about what we provide. This tool can be used as a SaaS solution or self-hosted. Many people do the SaaS solution. You can do self-hosted if you have a need to keep it all information within your Azure. It's easy to install. It really is almost no installation at all. You just hook up your tenant to the governance tool, and it goes and does a scan and gives you back results. And we'll show you that in a moment. You get immediate results. Immediate meaning within a half hour or so, at 15-20 minutes. There's a whole bunch of out-of-the-box policies and triggers and automations built in. It's comprehensive. It covers all aspects. Well, most of Microsoft 365. Very reasonably priced. Many people find the ROI is very significant. And like I said earlier, available as self-hosted or SaaS. It's also going to be in an Azure, in what we call sovereign Azure, where all the data has to stay, say, in Canada or in France or something like that. So all these things are available. Here's a look at the tool from a screenshot. We'll go into a live view of it in a moment. But you see it's a nice interface. It gives you all these different options. It's showing you right there without having to check all these different admin centers and giving you actionable items. So let's, yes, here's another view, just showing some kind of demo environment that, how many users, groups, products. Krista, I think we'll go into the actual program itself. What's the next slide after this one? What's after this one? Let's see if we...
All right, it's locking up on me a little bit here.
That's okay, because I can switch to my screen and show the actual RenCore itself. Now, what I want to say before we go too much further than this is that what we're emphasizing in this webinar is that there is a free complimentary 1-hour evaluation we'll give you, and we'll connect, do a scan, and you'll see all this information that can identify maybe immediately being 15 minutes or so, exactly some issues. Of course, an in-depth one would take a little more time, but the 1-hour assessment usually shows some issues that could be resolved, and it's very useful. We enjoy doing it, and then from there you can see if the tool will be useful for your company or not. And what I'm gonna do is I'll make myself presenter, and then we'll go look at the tool itself for about 5. We meant to keep this short because we're doing good. It's only up to 15 minutes, and we wanted to keep it short because people, are on time. They're getting ready for, well, right now it's the Easter holiday, but there's always some event going on, and they want to get this information quickly. So let me find that screen here for us. Oops, there we go. Which screen are we showing? Are you seeing the tenant overview screen there?
Yes, I see it. Yep.
So here, you can switch from different tenants if you want here in the screen. And this is a demo environment. And what we have here is showing you in real time certain information. The security, how compliant you are. Then you can go look at the policies. You can drill down. External access compliance. That's very big. You don't want people having access who shouldn't. Of course, you can refer to policies, whether it's violating a policy or not. Declutter, too much. You can look at declutter, external access, and security dashboards directly. Looking at your costs. Now, this is in euros because it's in a European demo, but yours obviously be in, if you're in US, it'd be US dollars or whatever currency you're in. Security checks, external access, inactive users, security compliance. So you get a lot of very actionable information right here in your dashboard. And if you did want to go to one of these, let's say look at the security dashboard itself, you can drill right in, very easy to use tool that's reading your data and giving you information you need. So here's the security checks, risky sign-ins, groups with external owners, admins without MFA. You should never have an admin administrator without MFA. What files are shared externally. And it also helps when somebody leaves the company, you can go back and check that user and what access they have and what still permissions they do. And especially with having so many different things, you have Outlook, you have OneDrive, you have SharePoint, you have Teams, you have all these different things inside the Microsoft 365 environment that has to be checked. That it's hard to keep track without doing a lot of tedious work. So then you can run reports. You get all these different reports, and you create your own reports, of course. You can do an inventory of the how many users in M365, how many groups, all blah, 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 how many teams, demo environments. Some people may have hundreds or thousands of these, how many flows, Power Apps, SharePoint, Yammer, OneDrive, Exchange, Azure AD. A lot going on here that's giving you right here at your fingertips this information. And then the compliance, how compliant it is with the policies you set up. So what you can do is you set up policies. You can add a new policy if you want. And when a policy is violated, of course, it comes with a whole bunch of it comes with a whole template of policies already. And then you can create your own, create what kind of severity it is, all these kind of things. And then what happens is automation. If one of the policies is violated, it'll tell you what it is, and you can create a new automation, that comes in and sends an email. Now, here's the thing about our NITRO governance. It can send the email to the help desk, our NITRO service desk, our NITRO help desk. And then that mail template, that mail goes in and becomes a ticket in the service desk. It's really pretty cool. It really makes a nice full-bodied governance tool, because not only do you have this, you can do things with all these automations like archive or unarchive a team, send a message to a Teams channel, trigger Azure functions, webhooks, set how visible a group is, enable or disable a user count, et cetera, et cetera. But one of the things that, when we use it with the NITRO Studio help desk, the NITRO help desk, the NITRO service desk tools, when you send the email, it goes over there and becomes a ticket in that system. So it really gives you not only the fact that policy has been violated, but now it goes into the task, the task of the IT, the ticketing system of the IT people, to go in and fix it. And you can go through change control, because our system of the NITRO help desk and service desk have change control in it. So you say, okay, before we make this change, if it's kind of a serious change, then you want to go through a change control process. So there's all kinds of ways to make this tool not only give you information, but also take action automatically through these automations that go on here. Now, what we do is we help you get it set up. We provide services. We can do some of the monitoring if you want, month to month to month. We can just give you a tool and then use it through training, and subscribe. You can subscribe to the tool through us, and then you can do the work yourself on it if you want to go it, or have us be in the background monitoring it and letting you know when things are going on. So many options. Our goal here is to keep your M365 running smoothly, optimally, cost effectively, efficiently, compliant, secure, and this is the tool to do it. So we encourage people to get in touch with us, do the 1 hour assessment, and find out. It's free, and if nothing's wrong, then nothing's wrong. You're fine. But if you do find usefulness of the tool, you'll see it in action, then you'll want to move further with it, and we can talk about pricing and different services and things like that. But definitely very important. I'm going to encourage everyone to jump on board with it. And the more I see this, the more people I look at, and more customers, the more we do this, the more I realize this is really critical to keeping your M365 running optimally, which means keeping your business running optimally these days. So I want to thank you for everyone for joining. We had a good crowd today, and Krista for helping out. We'll just keep it to 20 minutes, and that's good. And hope to hear from people, and we'll be sending a follow-up emails. Hope everyone has a nice weekend. We're coming up on Easter weekend, and a fine day. If you're watching this later in the year on our YouTube, that you have a fine day today. Thank you for listening. Okay, goodbye.